Abusuana no da 19th of this month and NPP focus shemo sports stadium Accra sports stadium Lagos sports stadium sorry now how an NPP for kwaje recommendation and suggestions be NPP for ne Ghana for be suggest say omon final reforms so mo constitution emo mo GB2 no mo bo bi sugui na ene de nipa na oka committee no mo hwe sa reforms ne so no honorable Kojo Oppong Nkrumah ekopie mo Metro TV abra woni Paul Adom Otchere ekotwetwe nkomo good evening Ghana so na ene de wodwatwa ensem enema bi a ekoso anase koso enam so nti mutu sa anamon no na ho anapo Adom Otchere ebusan se adenti na NPP for empa Ghana for achew na anu yi a honorable Kojo Oppong Nkrumah edemine no ene ensem okan efa omo reforms anase omo national delegates conference no nemo ekoso no okekan no yedi nyina elso on this platforms myself obasoa na wa hit subscribe atum na Afia like video no share na onua so ehu de ekoso e wo my girl me da se wachibre na wa hwe me.
Your opponents, the NDC, said that instead of the NPP apologizing, they are sitting down changing. I mean, they should come and apologize for all the nonsense that they did. They lost the election. Was that a missing point, or you get there later?
Charity begins at home. The first thing we have to do is to put our house in order. Mm-hmm. We've had a party that has had a de facto leader for the last 16 years. He's no longer there. Mm-hmm. There will be a scramble for power. We've lost a major election. There's a bit of, blame game going around. We have to put our house in order. We have to get, for example, these are policy teams together. And then we can have the exercise of engaging the entire country. There are things we did in government that were absolutely right. And then there were things we did in government that didn't go well. We will get to that point where we, after this introspection, confront all of those. But first, we have to put our house in order, and that's what we are doing.
First of all, congratulations. That was an impressive, I think the most impressive NPP Congress for a while. It was
grateful.
Good.
We're grateful.
And I think that the organizers got it right to get people to obey, don't wear partisan T-shirt. I was really concerned that, Charlie, the guys are going to wear what they want to wear. You can, but everyone seemed to have obeyed it.
And I think it's because people are clear in their minds that, listen, this is our first, may I say, major activity after the loss of 2024. It's a time of sober reflection. I mean, even the kind of music we were playing there was not the kind of, upbeat jamming kind of thing. No, that's not what we're doing. You needed everybody to be in a particular mood.
So what music did you play?
Oh, it was a lot of
gospel,
gospel songs, reflective songs. The messages that were being delivered were messages of reflection, unity, etc. And I think it all contributed to people's compliance, to the rules that had been set.
Watching you go through the amendments was very interesting and very exciting, with the excitement and enthusiasm with which you did it. I mean, I don't know whether you have been a gong beater before, but you did it excellently. That amendment that said youth age, everyone was waiting for that.
54.
And I'm suggesting to you, Honorable Minister, that I think you yourself, you wanted the amendment to fail. Because the way you said they should take the vote again. I mean, what was the amendment? What was it asking for?
The amendment, motion number 54, sought to reduce the definition of youth to 35, borrowing from some of the best practices around the world.
But I thought it was 45. When did it become 35?
Well, no, so it's 40.
No, that's what you guys ended up. But
yes.
You read the UN.
Yes,
which was some UN, 20 something.
WHO, yes, I mean there are different.
But that's youth ends at 20 something.
No, there are different rules. So, for example, the UN puts the age bracket between 15 to 24.
But 15 to 24 is youth for UN.
Yes, the WHO says 15 to 29. UNICEF says 15 to 24. The ILO says 15 to 24. The African Youth Charter says 15 to 35. And in Ghana, the National Youth Authority Act 939 says 15 to 35. So it was based on this that we're arguing that let's come down to 35.
For youth?
Yes, and conference was of the
What was the ramification? If you use 35, so what? So somebody who is over 35 cannot contest for National Youth Organization?
Yes, and then you have more room for young people to, explore their own ideas and initiatives and things that matter to them. But as we did the consultations, you could see that it was a very, very split view on that particular motion. There were a number of proposals. So, we had over 300 proposals that came in.
But sorry, what were you amending? What was the status quo before? 40?
40.
And you kept it at 40?
Yes, because conference rejected the motion.
Okay.
So, we had over 300 motions. Lawyer Frank Davis and the entire committee worked for over 3 months. We then did a number of focus group discussions. We had a sit-down workshop with President Kufuor, sit-down workshop with President Akufo Addo, with Vice President Bawumia, and a number of party elders from Boakye Jako to Kwabene Agyapong to everybody. Proponents of various ideas were invited, focus group discussions, and then we simplified it to 56 motions. So that particular motion, motion number 54, having listened to everybody, was aimed at putting the question whether or not we should come down to 35. And you will recall in my rendition, I mentioned that, Chairman, the views are very split on this. And the vote was taken. Initially, Chairman wasn't hearing well, so, you know, the vote was taken a second time.
I'm sure that people lobbied you that
oh, no.
When you get to this point, keep the 40.
No, no.
Do you have a friend who wants to run for National Youth Organizer who is 39?
I have quite a number of friends who want to run for National Youth Organizer.
Are they 39?
Well, I don't know their ages. But in the end, conference decided that, no, let's keep it at 40.
That was impressive.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing which everyone wants to hear is about who and who votes on January 31st. But before then, still on this one, you also said that the voting for National Youth Organizer and Women's Organizer will be done by who?
So now, by the amendments that have been done, all women will participate in the vote for the National Women Organizer. Initially, it used to be only the women organizers who participated in that vote. So the Electoral College for deciding who the women's organizer is used to be just the women organizers. Now all
women organizers means what? Greater Accra Regional Youth Women Organizer, Regional Women Organizers, Constituency Women Organizers, and polling station. Are there women organizers?
Well, at the national level, the polling station officers don't participate in the national level.
Okay,
poll. So it starts from constituency. So yes, that is what it was. But now, once you are a woman, you participate in that. And the rationale.
Once you're a woman from where?
Once you are
member
a
of the party
who is an executive from constituency all the way to national. You could be a secretary and a woman. You could be a treasurer,
and a woman.
But once you're a woman, you participate in it.
So all women executives from constituency, regional,
will
and
now
national
participate in that.
So you're sort of expanding it. And then the youth one too is what?
Same thing. So now all youth
below the age of 40.
Yes, will participate in determining who becomes our national youth organizer. It is no longer the prerogative of youth organizers to decide who becomes.
But that can be a huge number.
It is. Because, and if you look at our
so that's both men and women.
Yes. If you look at
that's a big one.
Yes, if you look at our recommendation, the real intent is to move to one man, one vote by 2028. That is a recommendation we have made. That by 2028, every card-bearing member of the NPP in good standing should participate in decision making. And the reason is that if you go back to the Michael Kwesi report and the consultations, there was that perception that many people were not involved in decision making. It didn't necessarily mean they disagreed with that decision, but they said, we didn't participate in it. And so we want to have a say, we want to participate in it. And so after all the consultations, the view is to get to that point where we have one man, one vote. But as part of efforts to get there today, we can expand and say, well, then let all the youth participate, let all the women participate in these special elections, even while we expand. We've expanded now by about 40%.
Oh, is that as much as that?
Yes. If you look at the various
So about how many people are casting the votes on January 31st?
So the register will now be compiled because not everybody who has been given a right may take it up or may even be in a position to exercise that. You have so for example, right now...
So you're going to do a new register?
Yes.
I don't get it.
Okay, so now that this expansion has taken place, that register has to be compiled.
At the constituency levels,
at the national level, but of course it will start from the various levels. And let me explain to you. So now, per these amendments, voting rights have been granted to, let's say, all former ministers who are card-bearing members of the party. And
all former ministers?
Yes.
Who are card-bearing members?
Yes. And
so, I'm sure Nana Komia has other voting capacity, but let me use him as an example. So Nana Komia, former minister.
Yes.
If he didn't have any other capacity, his former minister qualifies him.
Yes.
If he's a card-bearing member.
Yes. Now you have other former ministers who have left the party.
Like how?
Alan Chamantin, for example, has left the party.
Okay.
So you have people whose rights have been conferred on, but they will not get into the register. So they now have to take time to do that whole compilation. For example, you've got former constituency executives who now have a voting right in the elections that are supposed to take place. That album needs to be compiled. Some of them may have passed on. Some of them may not even be members of the party anymore. So now that these rights have been conferred, you are now going to go through the process of compiling these registered first at the constituency level, comes to the regional level, then comes to the national level, and then you can answer that definite question.
How many
but
people
these
are
rights
participating? Okay, so
have now been
who are the additions? Former ministers? Deputy ministers part of it?
Well, the definition of ministers for
Includes
this purpose will include.
Okay, so former ministers and deputy ministers.
Yes.
Now,
Former
if you say,
district chief executives.
hold on, if you say they are not card-bearing, they have to be card-bearing members.
Yes.
If I'm a former deputy minister today, I'm not a card-bearing member, and then I go and do the card now before January, am I qualified?
You are qualified if you.
So long as it's before they put the
yes.
thing together.
Yes.
I see. So
But
former.
you see, the card-bearing nature is aimed at determining that you are still a member of the party.
Okay.
So the real intendment is not just to get a card, is to have evidence that you are still a member of the party. And you know that, I mean, if you go back to President Kufuor's era, there were persons who were appointed to serve as ministers in the NPP government who were not NPP.
Kwesi Ndom.
Alamisa, a few other persons. So that compilation is now going to take place. But the idea is to expand as much as possible. So now you've got former constituency executives, former regional executives, you've got parliamentary candidates.
Candidates?
Yes, you've got...
So you lost, but
yes.
you are... So all the Volta region, all our MPs in Volta region who have been losing, they can participate.
Yes. You've got former members of parliament. You've got former ministers of state. You've got all of the members of the Council of Elders, for example. The external branches have had some numbers increased for them. So these are the various categories.
What about, so you have former members of, members of parliament, former members of parliament, former DCs?
Yes.
Former?
Yes. All the way from...
Well, now every DC is former, of course.
Well, yeah, all the way from President Kufuor's time, former DCs.
From President Kufuor?
Yes.
2000,
yes.
25 years ago.
Yes.
If you were DC then and you didn't become a DC.
By this because you see, by the old constitution, and if you look at the constitution as amended, I think in 2017, you could have been a former district chief executive who had served in the NPP government, maybe even for 2 terms, but you did not qualify to participate in the decision making of the party. And so you have some of these people.
That's awkward.
Yeah, they've got large constituencies of their own. They are persons of influence, and they say, well, I am not feeling like I'm a part of the decision making, and so maybe I'll just sit home and watch what is going on. We are bringing all of those people, back on board. You've got a former constituency chairman, a former regional chairman, who will not have voting rights or did not have voting rights.
That's interesting.
And so those are some of the corrections that we have done.
That's going to create some excitement at the base.
It is. There were 24 motions on expanding the electoral colleges in the party, and each of these motions brings various categories of people like this.